It is time to know the law this Wednesday morning, and today we're talking about a very important and life-changing issue, DUIs. Joining us, we have Atkins and Markoff's attorney, Dan Good, who specializes in criminal law, and you're here to tell us everything we need to know about DUIs, which of course is what? Driving under the influence? What's the official term for DUI?
Driving under the influence.
Okay.
And that can be alcohol, drugs,
exactly.
correct? Or...
That can be any substance that affects your ability to properly operate a motor vehicle.
Okay, so I think obviously the whole, you avoid a DUI by...
So this is my personal opinion, but the only way that you can make sure that you avoid a DUI is not to drink any amount of alcohol before you get behind the wheel of the car. I think it's true that it's possible you can take a drink, one sip of a drink and get home safely, but any more than that, you're really just rolling the dice, and there's a possibility that you get home safe, but there's a possibility that the worst ends up happening.
Well, and right now, what is it, 0.08?
That's the legal limit for having alcohol in your blood for a DUI.
Which for someone like us is
you could have one glass of wine and be at a 0.08.
There's a million different factors that affect from how much you drink, how strong your drink is, how quickly you drink, what you had eaten that day.
Right, how you metabolize it, sure.
And it's too much to keep track of to be able to know I can drink one drink or two drinks or 1.5. So my advice to anybody listening is just don't do it. There's other options that are much better. The financial cost of getting a DUI is astronomically higher than calling a taxi or calling an Uber. So when you have an option between the two, every time it just makes more sense to take the safe way home.
Dan, what should you do though if you have been drinking and driving and you do get pulled over? What do you do?
So when you get pulled over for a DUI arrest, the officer is going to, if they have reason to believe that you've been under the influence while you're driving, they're going to offer you either to take a breath test or a blood test. Under Oklahoma law, you are implied to have consented to that test. It doesn't mean that you have to. If you take the test, there's no real good answer as to whether you take the test or whether you don't take the test. If you don't, your license is going to get revoked. That's Oklahoma law. You're losing your driver's license. But if you do take the test and you're over the legal limit, there's a pretty good piece of evidence that they're going to take into court to prove that you were driving under the influence.
Gamble.
So really, you're saying that you don't have an answer for people. They just have to know what the choices are?
There's no good answer. The answer is don't get behind the wheel of the car if you've been drinking, because either way it's not going to end up good for you.
Okay. All right, you do get a DUI. What happens now? I mean, is your life over? Can you still get a job? Is this on your record?
Do they yank your license immediately?
Yeah,
how does this go?
It all depends on how you react to that situation. So if you take proactive measures, and the first thing you got to do is you got to find an attorney who specializes in this area of law. What a lot of people don't realize is that there's actually two different pieces of litigation that begin from a DUI arrest. So there's the criminal side, which is what most people think of, and that's where a court's going to decide, are you guilty of this crime, and if so, what's the punishment, whether that's incarceration or whether that's probation. But then there's another set of litigation, and that's with the Department of Public Safety. So as soon as you get arrested for a DUI, there's whether or not you blow, there's a 15-day timeline that you have to contact DPS and say, hey, please don't revoke my driver's license while I fight this. If you don't take proactive measures by getting an attorney who knows how to do all this stuff, your license is suspended 30 days after you get arrested. So the first thing to do is find an attorney that's going to protect your rights on both sides of the litigation. But getting a DUI, while it's scary, and if it's not handled well, it can be a roadblock in your life. If you take the actions that a good attorney is going to have you do, which is figure out what led to that DUI. Figure out, is this a one-time thing? Is this a recurring thing? Are there deeper substance abuse issues that need to be dealt with? And then take concrete actions to address those issues. If my clients do those things that I ask them to do, time and time again, I'm able to go to the Department of Public Safety, go to the district attorney's office, and go to the judge and show them, look at all the stuff that this person has done. They've figured out what the problem was, they've addressed it, and they're not going to be a threat to society anymore, and they're able to go on and live meaningful lives and it not get in the way of it.
Be productive members of society.
Absolutely.
Okay, Atkins and Markoff, you guys are the Lake Hefner Parkway, Suite 104, Oklahoma City. That's right there on the lake. Beautiful office, by the way. But we appreciate you being here. Great information.
Dan, thank you very much.
Here's more information, too, if you need to reach Atkins and Markoff.
They are on Facebook and Twitter. Tweet at them at Oklahoma City Law. You can find them on Facebook, Oklahoma City Lawyer, or atkinsandmarkoff.com. Dan, thank you.